In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the two major types of thoughts. As we bring awareness and clarity to the types of thoughts that we think, we can begin to sift through the rubble and really start to invest our consciousness, our time, our energy into those thoughts that are actually worthy of action. They're worthy of our attention, and they're in alignment with nature's trajectory of evolution. So you're definitely going to want to stick around. Consider that your mind thinks like your heart beats. Thoughts, ba-boom, ba-boom, thoughts. It's like a rhythm of nature. There's an intelligent process happening when you think thoughts. Even when it feels icky or out of alignment or anti-evolutionary, nature is still present because nature is omnipresent. So we're going to break down the two major categories of the types of thoughts that humans think. This applies to both our experience in meditation and in our day-to-day waking state. So the first category are the thoughts that are the expression of taking out the trash. These are the thoughts that are a function, a product of the release of stress in your nervous system and in your body. So as your body starts to unwind and release stress in meditation, this actually triggers activity in your mind. It's not possible for your body to be doing something independent of your mind. So in meditation, as your body starts to relax, that creates the perfect conditions for that stress to start to uproot and unwind. That physiological unwinding, that return to balance, to homeostasis, is a process. And that process has a counterpart, has an expression in our mind. So the release of stress produces thoughts of release. And this whole process is called unstressing in our meditation vernacular. So the stress coming into the body is the stressing. If you're a visual person, you can think of it like a coil is tightening up. That's the stress coming in. And then when we meditate, we're creating the conditions for that stress to unwind. So we're moving from a contraction and a distortion into a orderliness and an expansion. That's one of the many values of your daily meditation practice. So as our body returns to balance, our mind starts to kick up thoughts as a reflection of that physical activity. So these thoughts are indicative of taking out the trash. They are showing us that which is being released. There is no progressive creative action that is meant to come from that particular thought. And you can do a thought experiment. If I take this thought and extrapolate it to its end point, in other words, if I act on this thought, is that evolutionary? Is it life-supporting? Is it sustainable? So if you're meditating or you're in your life and you have a thought, that person is an ASSHOLE. If you extrapolate that thought, what does acting on that thought really look like? It's not evolutionary, it's not life-supporting, it's not sustainable. So that is a thought of taking out the trash. There's some release happening. Or maybe you have a thought of, I can't do it, or nobody's gonna like me. Any of those kind of limiting, kind of irrelevant types of thoughts, I invite you to put in the category of taking out the trash. These are the thoughts that are simply passing through our consciousness that are not worthy of our time, energy, and attention. So sticking with the kitchen food analogy here, we have taking out the trash and we have what's cooking. What's cooking good looking? Over here, these are the cognitions. These are the thoughts that we have that are inviting us into action. They're in alignment with progressive change. They have a creative element imbued within them. They're life supporting, they're sustainable. They're the diamond in the rough. If you take the cognition and you extrapolate it, you will find that there's relevant action available for you. So in meditation and in your life, begin to build some contextual awareness around which thoughts are indicative of you taking out the trash, which thoughts are stress release thoughts, and which thoughts are cognitions, which thoughts are intuitions, which thoughts are inviting you into action. These thoughts ask you to step up and step into your life. These thoughts are indicative of what you have just released. So it behooves all of us to bring greater energy and consciousness and time to the cognitions, those thoughts that are actually worthy of action. So many of us kind of get lost in the cesspool of taking out the trash, and that results in too much thinking, overthinking, putting thoughts and storylines on a pedestal, continuing to repeatedly visit those thoughts in our awareness, and then we just get lost in this kind of eddy of repetition. Nature wants us to evolve because on a macro scale, nature's evolving. So as individuals, nature wants and supports our evolution because it's in alignment with what's happening on a grander scale. So highlighting those cognitions and acting on them is acknowledging evolution. You're demonstrating to nature that you're playing the game, you're participating, you're showing up for nature's agenda. And so massive support is going to rush in because you're aligning, the wave is aligning with the ocean. So seen and unseen forces will come in to support that evolutionary flow. So highlight those cognitions and step up to the plate and watch how nature swirls in to support that flow. On the other hand, if we are repeating something in our lives, repeating irrelevant thoughts, repeating irrelevant actions, making irrelevant choices in repetition, all of that creates a weight on the evolutionary flow of nature. It starts to create a stagnating stench. It starts to go against the grain when we start to repeat in an irrelevant way. So when we notice we are lost in that kind of eddy, that's our reminder that we've probably been paying much too attention to the trash. It's time to shift to creative possibility. What's the possibility here? When we're focusing on the trash, we're focusing on the past and what's known. When we receive those cognitions and we're willing to courageously step forward into action, then we're serving the future. Have you heard that phrase? We can be a prisoner of the past or an architect of the future. Those cognitions are the building blocks of your future building. So use this distinction to come out of irrelevant thinking and shift into those forward-moving creative cognitions. That's the fuel that wants your life to move forward. So give that your attention and let it serve you in return. So we have taking out the trash and we have what's cooking, baby. What kind of kitchen environment do you want to live from? Please be in that question. I will be in that question myself as well. Thank you for being here with me today. I have massive love for you. That's a thought that feels good. And I'll see you really soon. Namaste.